Here's a story from CNN. I can't believe I'm going to read this headline. How Trump managed to get his much-needed China trade victory.
Incredible that is a CNN headline.
I just want to make sure you guys can see this. CNN.com, right there at the top. CNN Business, and they called it a victory. Maybe they're realizing they can't sustain themselves off of anti-Trump vitriol, and so they're going to actually try and move over a little bit.
The best thing they have going for them is Scott Jennings. The Republican on the network is keeping them afloat.
It's crazy. All of their viral clips are him.
I know.
They have no relevance outside of him. And they fired Ryan Gerdusky, which also he was helping contribute to their virality.
For being hilarious.
He didn't even say anything. Anyway.
It was funny. I laughed.
Indeed. So here's a story from New York Times. U.S. and China agree to temporarily slash tariffs in bid to defuse the trade war. The White House backed off from the steepest levies as the cost of an all-out trade war with China threatened global economic growth. While CNN says Trump got his much-needed China trade victory, CNBC says China sees the U.S. trade deal as a huge win for Beijing.
Yeah.
Well, of course they would. That's called making a deal. Both sides are like, we're satisfied with these terms. We kind of got what we wanted. Now, one of the most interesting things about this is we had this tweet from Charlie Kirk. Scott Bessent revealed that China basically ignored the trade agreements negotiated by Trump because they knew Joe Biden was weak and wouldn't enforce the terms. So let me break this down for you. Liberals across the border saying Trump got nothing. He's backtracking. And I'm like, well, that's overly simplistic. I think it's fair to say perhaps Trump wanted more and he got what he got. But he did. There's currently between 10 and 34%. There's two different reports on this. One I've seen from the press saying a 34% general tariff is remaining, is reciprocal. But I've also seen a statement from the White House saying that they're going to pause that for 90 days down to 10%.
Yeah.
Either way, that 10% universal tariff was not there before, be it 10 or 34%. So Trump big asked a tariff on China. He said 145, everybody loses their mind. Then he walks it back and it goes down to such a degree that that the liberals are saying he's backtracked and given up. That's a win for Trump. The markets have rebounded. If Trump came out and said, we're going to do a 34% tariff on China, just that was it, the market would take a hit. Liberals would lose their minds. In this instance, by going way up and then coming down, he secured tariffs. Now, the other interesting thing is the heavy hand, I think, may have been because of this. Check the statement out from Scott Bessent.
What has to happen is it has to be fair for the American people. But in January 2020, President Trump produced a template. We had an excellent trade agreement with China, and the Biden administration chose not to enforce it. The Chinese delegation basically told us that once President Biden came into office, they just ignored their obligations. So, we already have a large framework. The other thing to remember here, Jonathan, is that this is a pause down to 10%. The April 2nd level for China is 34%. So we will be working to see where their final reciprocal number ends up. And the negotiations are a combination of tariffs, non-tariff trade barriers, currency manipulation, and subsidies of labor and capital.
So what did Trump get? Well, the heavy hand says to China, we will be enforcing your obligations to us, not like the Biden administration. And there's a tariff in place, and the market has recovered. Take a look at this up at the top of the screen. The Dow is at 42,410. S&P is at 5,844. That's a 2.81 increase in the Dow, a 3.26% increase in the S&P, and Nasdaq's up 4.35. In fact, one report saying that S&P is actually higher than it was before the tariffs went into place. So that is a recovery in the market. CNN's calling it a victory. He did it, guys.
Well, I mean, it clearly is some kind of positive for the Trump administration. There are people that were, 2 weeks ago or a week ago screaming that this is the end, the tariffs were going to be the end of the economy and everything was going to be super expensive and, no one's going to be able to afford anything. But that's kind of, that kind of comes with the territory when it comes to the way the media portrays Donald Trump. It is notable that CNN is actually claiming that this is a victory because everyone knows how the media treats him.
Even
CNN especially.
An economist I like a lot, Thomas Sowell, was saying these were apocalyptic tariffs.
Yeah.
And he was
Everybody
saying,
was.
not a good idea.
Everyone's so dramatic.
Well, free market, like free trade people, like Thomas Sowell and stuff. He's. I don't think that he's actually an Austrian, but he leans towards the free market kind of ideas. And if you're a free market guy, tariffs are considered a bad thing, and from not just for Austrians, but just free market people overall. So it makes sense that Sowell was saying that stuff, but at the same time, I think that there are too many people that were expecting this to be the kind of the end of the road as opposed to treating it like a negotiating tool, and clearly it was just a negotiating tool.
What's so mind-boggling to me, and I mean, what's done is done. You can't go back in time, but I don't know how more people are not so frustrated with the fact that Biden just let our country get so taken advantage of. And it's like, I'm humiliated as an American that like travels overseas and I'm abroad. And the fact that he's like, yeah, we had a pretty good plan in place and Biden just let all the other countries take advantage of us. You can't blame them.
To your point though, but China made it very clear when the Biden administration met with them in Alaska. They straight up said, you are not in a position of power here. And that was because of the people. Yeah, to Blinken. That was because of the individuals. It wasn't because of the United States. There's some kind of significant difference between today and 4 years ago. It was because they had no respect for Blinken or Joe Biden and his administration.
Here's my conspiracy theory. It's like it's 2020 and Trump is sitting there being like, everything's going really great. This is pre-COVID. And he was like, but people don't understand because they have no frame of reference to how great things really are. So he cuts a deal with the Democrats saying, you guys take the next 4 years and just burn it all to the ground. That way, when I come back, people will really appreciate what we have to offer.
I don't think Trump
I'm joking, by the way. I don't think that actually happened.
No, but like on a serious note, I don't think Trump could have won this election unless the country got as far extreme woke as it did. And the reason it was so easy to take advantage of Biden is because he was too busy like worrying about people's pronouns and
not being alive.
He was dead.
Yeah, he was worried about not dying every day of his life.
I don't think he was worried about much. He was more so worried about if he was going to make it to the bathroom in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not trying to be mean to an old man, but kind of.
It was elderly abuse. The fact that his family let that happen for so long, it's like, as frustrated as I am with the tariffs, if I were any of these prime ministers or presidents, I would have done exactly the same. Like, he belonged in hospice, not in the White House.
The rest of the world loved it.
I know.
Did you guys see him on The View?
I didn't
recently,
understand what he said.
Yeah. The new clone's all right.
The new clone is all right.
I couldn't understand most of what he said, honestly.
So I didn't see it. I heard clips, but it was really bad. And Jill did a lot of.
I was just gonna say, Jill speaks for him when he starts to fumble and stuff. She's like, I'm gonna step in now and.
It was like the debate with Trump, where it's like he starts a sentence like semi-articulate, and then,
Here you go. You guys ready? It's just a shame we're playing clips of Biden again, but this matters.
It's funny.
The projects, the benefits. How do you lead the world without having the best infrastructure in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best healthcare in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best education system in the world? How do you lead the world when you don't have
Do you know what I thought of the moment? So Tate was like, here, I got some clips for you. And he showed me this. And then I was like, it reminds me of Bruce Almighty. You know the scene where Bruce is standing off the side and Steve Carell at the anchor desk and he goes, yeah. That's the first thing I thought of. Like, let me play that again for you. This guy was president.
The projects, the benefits. How do you lead the world without having the best infrastructure? How do you lead the world without having the best healthcare in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best education system in the world? How do you...
The nihilist in me is laughing, going.
Sounds like he's talking.
Every
with a bunch
single
of marbles.
clip I've ever seen of The View has been against my will. Like, I've never once voluntarily went to go find the clip of The View. I swear, if it wasn't for Republicans just bashing them, I don't know if a soul would be watching it. Besides, like,
have you ever seen Alex Jones on The View? It's one of the best moments.
Oh yeah.
When was he on The
Well,
View?
to be fair, I think Norm Macdonald was better.
It's equal, but Norm's is great. Norm's is great because he's talking about the Clintons, and so I guess is Alex Jones.
What was he saying? Like Bill Clinton killed a guy?
Yeah.
And they're like, stop! Don't say that. And they're like, what do you mean?
Thought you were a funny guy, Norm.
And he was like, I thought everybody knew Bill Clinton killed a guy.
Oh, rest in
God.
peace.
Wait, see that? Maybe I'll go voluntarily watch.
Alex Jones was on to defend his friend Charlie Sheen. At the time, it was the Tiger Blood controversy.
How long ago was this?
1,000 years ago. I don't remember.
It's
it was
so
a long,
crazy that
long time
Alex
ago.
Jones on The View.
Great. It's
Yeah.
a great clip. Yeah.
We're talking about the same Alex Jones, like the unhinged conspiracy theorist. Like,
Unhinged. Well, he's ripped now. Have you seen him lately?
unhinged.
What?
Not
No.
physically, mentally.
No, he's
I no.
hinged.
I'm
He's
saying.
hinged. He's hinged, Emily.
No. I'm. You know, he's got some good points, but he gets crazy out there.
He's the
But
one
I'm
that brought Kanye on with the little jellyfish.
Yeah. I'm just pointing out that he's like jacked now. Like Alex, congratulations, man.
Now he's just mentally unstable.
The way people looked at Alex Jones pre Sandy Hook and post Sandy Hook was different because the way that the media portrayed him and the way they dragged his name through the mud and blamed him for essentially, for the shooting and for what happened, which is the most ridiculous.
They blamed him for the shooting?
In court, he owes $1 billion. $1 billion.
To be fair, the plaintiffs were requesting the GDP of France.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's not a joke. They wanted something like
Literally.
$2 trillion.
Literally.
It was the biggest.
There are people who believe he is the shooter. Like there's people who think he did it.
Crazy, insane.
All he did was question things, and he apologized later. I don't think he should have, but he did.
You shouldn't apologize. Just for
Definitely shouldn't have apologized, but people blame him.
Yeah.
No, what he said I thought was so insensitive, but for him to be the shooter,
But the reason that people look at Alex Jones the way they do today is because of what the media did to him in 2012, 13, 14. In that time period.
Is that when the shooting was?
It was in 2012. It was the very end of
Obama was
2012.
president, right?
I remember it I was 11 then. How do I remember it? I guess it was so traumatizing.
I remember I bought rifles right afterwards. I was like, they're going to come after rifles. So I called up a buddy of mine.
Recently, Glock 43.
Nice.
I remember I was eating a cheeseburger in Brooklyn.
Nice. Where?
I was in New York.
It's a
as well.
it was a burger joint called Action Burger. I think they still exist. That place is amazing, by the way.
I hate
I think we
Brooklyn.
were on tour
I
with
detest.
Machine Head and
Yeah, I think it still exists. Wow, that's crazy. They still around? That's so cool.
There's no lack
If
of
you
burger.
guys are in New York, go to Action Burger. Sci-fi comic book burger restaurant.
Oh, that's
That
cool.
sounds cool.
Yeah. And they make a milkshake where they put the oatmeal cream pie cookie right in it and blend it up.
my
And you
God.
gain like 20 pounds just by looking at it.
Wow.
I had
You
I don't know.
what?
I don't know if they still do that,
Worth
but they
it.
did that when I was there.
I had
And I used
pizza
to get
this
them all the
weekend.
time.
I felt like a fatty. Now I'm like.
I just want to say I like how we went from the View to this.
Yeah.
So quickly. We went through a lot.
We're talking
of
about
things.
fatties.
This is
It's
good.
very comparable.
Good
to the
Americana
view.
right
there
here.
you go.
Fatties.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.